A lot of people indeed go into relationships to fill a void. You will not make a good partner if you hate singleness. If you're escaping from yourself, you're not going to be a good partner. All right? It is two whole people who come together to be one, not half, half. Some people say my better half. And I'm not trying to be semantical about it and to make fun of the metaphor, but at the end of the day, what I just want to emphasize is you must be a whole person, enjoy your life, just like Adam, busy, complete, purposeful. Only then will it be an exciting journey for someone to join you, okay? And only then will you even be able to escape the toxicity if you ever experience it. The reason why a lot of people cope with nonsense in relationships that are clearly headed nowhere is because they don't really like themselves. And those things, the energy will always seep off. The worst thing is to fall in the hands of a predator, a narcissistic person who knows to begin with that you need someone else to complete you. Those are the people that they like. When they smell low self-esteem, they smell that you don't really like yourself, they smell that you're not comfortable in your own skin, you are in trouble. And that's why it's very important that it is two whole people who come together. Now, to the question, how do I know I'm ready? You know you're ready when you're physically matured, emotionally matured, financially ready, all right? And there are some things that you must have mastered. One compulsory thing, you see, think about it. Two people who know how to handle conflict, who have good conflict resolution skills, who have good financial management, who honor the Lord, will most likely have a good marriage. There are just some key things, all right, that if you know how to do, if you know how to put each other first, respect yourself, respect the other person, you know how to. And I'm saying conflict resolution because even good people have misunderstandings. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it is how quickly you are able to repair, your ability to fight with grace. And so some first date questions. What's the oldest relationship in your life? Now, make no mistake, there are some people that due to circumstance or happenstance, they don't really have long friendships. Maybe you relocated or anything, but it will help you to give you some succor to know that this person has a friendship of 10 years running. Some people are just used to changing friendships like clothes. They fight everybody every 2 months, and it's always the other person's fault. Another question you might stylishly ask, how many times have you been in a physical fight? I just want to know. I just want to know. And then what happened in all those instances? Because many times the greatest prediction of future events is past events. So I think it's a brilliant question to ask. Am I trying to fill a void? If there is a void in my heart, I must heal first before I enter any relationship. Otherwise, the relationship is already a disaster waiting to happen. Because now you are depending on somebody to heal a wound that they don't even know about. And you're going to bleed on the person every day and, just keep seeing everything that the person says and does through the lens of your heart and your past mistakes, and seeing the person as your ex that the person doesn't even know about. So I think is a very brilliant question, and every one of us should take it seriously. That's what I have to say.
A round of applause. Yeah, so the next question. When my partner has habits that frustrate me, that's the person that asked the question, how do I address them without becoming controlling or overly critical?
Okay, let me take that. Hi everyone, good evening. So good to see you all, so glad to be here. All right, someone said wish and glory. All right, so in response to the question, I think that you will most likely catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. And I think that many of us are very good at communicating grievances, but not as good as giving compliments. One thing I've realized is that if you compliment your spouse when they do well, they are more likely desirous of doing well, so you can compliment them even more. I think the mistake some people make is that they don't compliment this person when the person does well, but they are very quick to comment when the person doesn't do well. So a good place to start from first is when things are going right, be very generous with praise. If like many people did not really have that growing up. So for them, they're like, why should I thank you for something as basic as this? Why should I tell you I'm having a good time? Why should I always tell you I love you? Like, I told you I loved you the day I toasted you, it has not changed. But really being intentional with your words when the going is good, that's a good place to start. And then I also think that when you are communicating what this person has done wrong, you don't have to make it about the person, you can make it about the issue. As opposed to you are. It is this particular thing. I don't really like this thing in particular. Like, I love you, but I don't like this. And it's important that you are able to communicate grievances, because if not, when you allow those things fester, bitterness begins to fester and it affects the relationship. So you have to learn to be intentional about your choice of words, be intentional also about the timing. It doesn't matter what you want to tell my husband. If you wake him up from sleep to tell him, it will not work. It's not going to work. So be intentional about the timing. Be intentional about your tone of voice. And then I think also when correcting, it's also important to be intentional and true to yourself about what you're saying. Instead of saying, you are behaving like you don't love me, you can say, I wish you called yesterday. You see, those two things are very, very different things. But when you say you're acting like you don't love me, the person now says, what about when I did this, and this? And then you say, what do you mean? Now you're mentioning money. Is money love? So it's always important that you communicate clearly what you're trying to say. And don't feel like you have to say it over and over and over and over and over again to be heard. But say it, and then sometimes you give the Holy Spirit space to work. But I'll yield the floor to my spouse.
I just also want to chip this in. If you enter into a marriage with a red pen, there will be a lot to mark wrong. So in relationship. Okay. So you need to understand that there is nobody you won't see errors in if you look for them. So having a perspective of grace is just very important. That's just what I want to say. And in the execution of grace, there are things to know. It's not just about stating the problem. If you want a solution, there is a way to go about it. There is a way to win with men, for instance. There is a way to win with women. And guess what? A lot of women already understand this. So if you saw two people, maybe newbies to relationship, and the guy looks at the girl and does, and the girl says, what's that? And he just goes, oh, I just noticed you're getting fatter. Wait a minute. Now, you see that reaction? Because you know that there are some conversations that must be filtered in a relationship. You get what I'm saying? You don't just enter into it. You are a novice as a guy if you just make comments about your woman. You know, I was counseling a couple. The lady had been sick for a while, lost some weight, and the guy, you know, for some reason was not really, they're married. Sex had reduced. And so she asked him, what is the problem? And he said, well, you have not been giving me much to work with lately. So now, the reason I'm saying this is this. We can unanimously agree that there is a way you shouldn't talk to a woman. But most women don't know that there is a way you shouldn't talk to men. You expect your own, you understand your own, but you don't practice the reciprocity. See, women, when you give a woman maybe some criticism, she might not like it, she might not like the approach, and I don't even encourage it. You must always sandwich it if you need to talk to a woman. Nonetheless, a woman will change because that opinion changes her. But for men, criticism does the opposite. It makes men give up. It makes men give up. I mean, so men, when you tell a man, you don't show up for me, he will agree with you and stop showing up. Like it just defeats his zest, to try harder. Come on, I get what I'm saying. Men, am I saying the truth? Listen, that's important feedback. So how you communicate with a man is very important. Let me tell you this, and this takes practice. Men like to fix things. So state the problem without pointing at him. What do you think we can do about this light problem? He likes that. You not say, oh, I'm going to do this, I'll call this person now, this, that. If you stand somewhere, something is broken, and you just stand in front of it and say, how can we fix this? You know what to do. Here is something else you can do. You can say, you have not done this, or do this right now. There are just some ways you can communicate. I started with the feminine side because that's the one we all agree. We unanimously agree. But little do many people know that in talking to a man, see, you can't constantly criticize a man and get the best out of him. You cannot. You need to know that. And there will be many times in a healthy marriage where you allow the man to be wrong until he realizes he's wrong. See, especially when it is not a high-stake issue. It's a personal opinion about maybe something he's doing for himself. Have you thought about it this way? Do you think it should be this way? First and foremost, that's a better way to present it. And then if he does not listen, allow him. See, I've seen couples, men specifically, who learned by experience to listen to their wives. And listen, when a man arrives at that, especially when you approach it the right way, there is no going back. No going back. By himself, he will tell you, let me talk to my wife. I will talk to my wife and get back to you. I've seen many instances like that. So, honestly, there is a lot to learn. There's a lot more to say, but I think I can peg it at this for now. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Pastor.